This was a pregnant woman about to give birth. She was at the police station looking for her husband who disappeared 2 weeks ago. Her name was Tia. She had lived in the UK for many years. Her husband was a programmer. A month ago he came back to India for a business trip, but then he vanished. So Tia had no choice but to come all the way back to look for him. Tia first went to the police station. The cops asked her for a recent photo of her husband, but Tia said her husband hated taking pictures. They had been married for years and there was only one selfie, and it was taken 2 years ago. The police were very puzzled. Then Tia told them her husband was working on the National Security Center project. They had even eloped when they got married. The cops instantly realized her husband's identity wasn't simple. After filling out the paperwork, Tia felt pain in her lower abdomen. She almost fainted. So Officer Reina quickly said he'd take her somewhere to rest. Tia decided to check out the hotel where her husband had stayed. But the place was a total dump. People coming back from abroad rarely stayed in places like this. The hotel owner kept insisting Tia's husband had never stayed there.
लेकिन आपका husband नहीं है.
But Tia was very insistent. She said the owner was lying. She told Reina there was a golden peacock next to the hotel elevator. She had seen it in the video. Reina walked into the elevator area and found the peacock was indeed there.
सब झूठ क्यों बोल रहे हैं ये मुझे नहीं पता.
Then Tia decided to get some rest. After walking into the room, she looked out at the traffic outside and her eyes turned red. But Reina outside felt the whole thing was getting stranger and stranger. The next morning, Tia went to her husband's company to ask around. The HR said her husband had never worked there, and he had never been assigned any national security projects. Tia showed her husband's photo.
नहीं, ये यहाँ नहीं आया था.
She begged HR to tell her where her husband was, but HR said there really was no such person. Then Reina came to Tia and told her they had found an unidentified body. She quickly opened the freezer to check, but she threw up in disgust. But she was also relieved because it wasn't her husband. The two kept searching. They went to her husband's school, but the teacher checked the records and said this person had never studied there. Then they went to find her husband's uncle, but found that house didn't even exist in the village. The neighbors even said they had lived there for 30 years and had never heard of that family. All the info pointed to one conclusion: Tia's husband never existed. Even immigration said there was no record of this person entering or leaving the country. They were about to give up, until one night HR told Tia they had found her husband's file, but the name wasn't the one Tia gave. He just looked like him, and this guy had gone missing 2 years ago. Tia was super confused after hearing this. Had she been tricked into marriage? Even the cops said there were plenty of guys who got women pregnant and then ran, but Tia still refused to believe it. She was sure her husband hadn't lied to her. Then a pair of top agents came to Reina. They told him to stop looking for the guy, because the HR guy had been killed the same night after meeting Tia, and they said the man who looked like Tia's husband was a terrorist. He was behind the subway gas attack that shocked the whole country 2 years ago. Right then, Tia was waiting for a train in the subway. A creepy fat guy kept following her. The guy was a hitman. He threatened Tia to leave the city immediately, or he'd push her onto the tracks. Luckily, there were people around watching. Tia survived. She said she was definitely going to find her husband. Then she went back to the hotel with her big belly to keep digging through information. She figured there were only 3 possibilities now. 1, she got scammed and her husband was gone. 2, her husband was the terrorist. 3, her husband was still out there, because he looked like the terrorist and had been chased by the cops, so he had gone into hiding. Tia firmly believed it was the third one, so they had to find the guy who released the gas in the subway. Tia went to the terrorist's house. She noticed in the hallway that his apartment was the only one missing a mailbox. Then she went to the mail center and actually found a document he hadn't picked up yet. At that moment, Tia looked at a tea stall by the road. She suddenly got an idea. She asked the tea delivery guy if he had ever seen the terrorist.